Vaughan Murrae, good to see you. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm really excited to chat with you. We have a lot to chat about.
Yes.
Which is, but Malcolm in the Middle, Life's Still Unfair. I feel like it's interesting. Anytime you're cast for something that is a spin-off continuation of something that already existed and that's something that was like so popular, it's a unique casting situation because there's familiar territory and unfamiliar territory at the same time, right? Did it feel like that when you were cast for this? Where you knew what was going on, but at the same time you didn't know what was going on? Like, did it feel like that?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. There's benefits of like you get to see the original, so you can kind of understand the vibe and like what they might be looking for and what kind of energy you want to sort of bring into it. There's also like the pressure of like having that pre-established franchise and wanting to, do right by it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting too, right? Like when you audition and everything, like how much did you know about the project? Like, did you know you were auditioning for something in the Malcolm in the Middle universe?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Sometimes they don't tell you, so.
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're very secretive about it, but they were very clear about what it was. And originally, like I hadn't seen the show when I first auditioned, but my mom had, and she was like, "You have to get this. This is like so important. This is Malcolm in the Middle. Like everyone loved this show." I was like, okay. And I watched it and I instantly fell in love with it. And I was super excited to do it. And I was completely blown away when I got the call back.
Take me through getting those scripts and then kind of looking at them and what your characters, like what's happening with your character, what's happening with the whole family and everything. And then take me through that, like getting there and seeing everything come to life, that script to screen journey, getting these episodes, so to speak.
Yeah, well, I remember like in the audition period when I was able to like just read the scenes that were given to me, which like aren't so different from the scenes that you see in the show. I remember kind of taking a look at Kelly and just kind of feeling like, super excited that they were having a character like this in such a big name show. So that kind of instantly drew me to it. And then getting to read the scripts. When I was filming in Vancouver, I was actually watching the show like while we were filming. I hadn't finished it. So I got to kind of have the experience of living in the show while also watching it. And I remember just feeling kind of in awe at how they were able to capture the same energy that the original had. When it comes to reboots and stuff like that, there's a lot of apprehension and like skepticism surrounding them for fans because they aren't sure if the reboot or the new content is going to be able to capture that sort of lightning in a bottle energy that the original did. But I was like, I really feel like I'm in Malcolm. Like when I'm on screen and when I'm reading these scripts and doing like, acting in these scenes, like I really felt like it was Malcolm. It was impressive.
Absolutely. And to kind of add to that a little bit, when you work on something, whether it's before filming it or after filming it, conversations are always going to happen, right? Whether they're with your cast, whether with the showrunners, the creators, right? And everything. For this one specifically, like when did a lot of the conversations occur? Like, did they happen like while filming? Were they a lot before kind of filming? Like when did a lot of those like storytelling conversations for Malcolm in the Middle happen for you specifically?
Yeah, well, I think that it kind of happens throughout. Naturally, when you're filming, you're going to have a lot of discussions. But I think that this production was very unique in that we actually got a chance to sit down like for a full week before we even started filming. And I got a chance to meet Justin, who plays Reese, and Brian and Jane, who are Lois and Hal. And I got a chance to really kind of talk with them about Kelly and how that they thought they might fit into the family and the dynamics we got to kind of explore before even like showing up on screen. And I also got the chance to like just Zoom before I even went to Vancouver to just sort of talk about what I thought the room would look like, which was interesting. I'd never been asked that before, but they had asked me like, hey, like, do you have any ideas of what like Kelly's room would look like? Do you have any ideas of like how they would dress? Like I got a lot of input on their fashions, like, sense and the way that they like to have their room and like what kind of hobbies they had. So I remember showing up on set and seeing the room and it was so like artsy and creative because that's kind of what I said. I was like, I think they'd probably be a photographer or they'd be really into like some like niche records. And I showed up on set and I got to see all of that in real time. I was like, wow, this is crazy. They actually listened to me.
Yeah, and then I want to know, because you went back to watch Malcolm in the Middle, but you say your mom watched and everything. Did she talk to you about the fact that like that like what happened specifically, like the last episode of the show, right? Is like
yeah.
like,
Well,
like
that was the biggest thing. That was the biggest thing for me because I think she recognized, she was like, I don't remember Kelly being in the show, and then she was like, oh, there was that final gag. So before I did the audition, because I didn't have a whole lot of time, I watched the first episode and a couple, and then I watched the very last episode, which had that final gag there, and I was able to be like, oh, that's so cool. I love how they didn't forget about that kid.
yeah, no, absolutely. I did kind of want to also talk to you a little bit about The Way Home on Hallmark
Mhm.
Channel, but like, but specifically, like, you know, it's all storytelling at the end of the day, right? And different worlds, different characters. But I'm curious, like, how separate are past things compared to something like a new project? Do you bring mindsets or preparations from one project to another? Or are they completely separate once you wrap them? Like
Mhm.
Malcolm in the Middle, Way Home. Did you bring kind of mindsets to those, or are they completely kind of separate for you?
I think when it comes to the character, it's very separate. I try not to meld past projects into future projects unless I feel like I can really benefit from it, just because I never, it's a different show, it's a different vibe. But I do feel like, the lessons that you learn on set and, just the general like groove that you get into, you sort of take with you. You know what I mean? You learn how to interact with people and how to be very like professional. Like as someone new to the industry, when I first started coming in, The Way Home was like my first, I think, really big budget production. So I got to like, kind of experience what that sort of set life was like, and then I got to carry that experience onto how I sort of presented myself and carried myself on Malcolm in the Middle. But in terms of
Yeah.
like creatively and character wise, I tend not to like overlap.
No,
Mhm.
absolutely. I'm curious, like in regards to a show like The Way Home, you know, and you know, episodes rolling out for the final season on
Mhm.
Hallmark Channel and Hallmark Plus. And I'm wondering for you because you know, watching the show, it's a stunning show. It's beautiful. It's the you know the romances and the family and the friendships. But for me, it always the time travel component will always be the thing I think
Yeah.
about with The Way Home. Might be different for a lot of different people that watch the
Mhm.
show, but what do you think about that? Like, are you with me where like the time travel component really kind of stands out, like
Yeah.
compared to other things in
I
that
think
show?
it's done in a very unique way too. Like the pond has very set rules and it kind of pulls from like it's not as like futuristic. It doesn't feel very like it feels more like old magic, you know what I mean? An old history. And it's like it only allows the Landrys. It's tied to this one family. And I think that that's very intriguing. And one of the biggest draws of the show is that it's done in a very unique way and a way that kind of draws you in. Like I've actually been to the pond like many times on set, and even just being like it's a real pond. Like it's not a studio or anything like that. Like it's a real pond, and I've been there, and it really does feel magical. And I think that it
Yeah,
is for sure like one of the biggest draws of the show. Hmm.
absolutely. I'm wondering, I know like when you're acting, you know, you're thinking about the character and you're in the moment, so maybe you don't. But like, given that, like, you know, Malcolm in the Middle and The Way Home, these are both shows where the audience is very dialed in, and I feel like very kind of immersed and
Hmm.
invested in a lot of ways. Because especially with Malcolm, we're picking up where we left off. We want to see where this family is, and it's just like you're thrown into this
Hmm.
chaos, right, of this family. And it's like you never even left. Like that's what like that's what it felt like. And The Way Home is this, you know, beautiful show with the family and the pond, like you said. Are you ever conscious of the audience member watching the shows that you're making while you're making them at all? Or is that something happen a little bit after you
Yeah,
wrap?
I mean, I think that there's always sort of the thought in the back of my head on like how audiences might perceive me or my character or my storyline. Like
Mhm.
as a like avid TV watcher myself and a fan of a lot of nerdy things, I think I understand the sort of perspective, and I don't want to let like fans down or anything like that. But I do think the real impact of it comes after it's been released, and you get to see like especially with The Way Home, like all the fan theories of what's gonna happen, and it's
Mm.
interesting like the fresh perspective on fans with Kelly too, because they are so new, like they aren't a pre-established character really in the original. They're a pregnancy stick in the original, a little embryo. So I think that they're very new, and I am eager to see what people might think of them and how they are perceived. But I think that I kind of delve more into that after the fact because everything else before that is fan like speculation. So I think I'm more
Mhm.
concerned with how they view my character once everything's come out.
What's it like for you once a project you made is actually out there in the world and disseminated? Because I feel like it can be a lot of different kind of emotions, and depending on the project, certain things, because it is this feeling, but that is really the life of an actor. It's like on to the next, right? Like it's in your hands until it's out of your hands, and it's like disseminated on Hulu and Disney Plus, right? So like, what is that feeling for you when something finally is out there?
I think the initial feeling is weird. Like when you're watching yourself on the big screen and you're like, wow, there's my face. That's crazy. Like, I never thought that I would be up there, even though like you acted in the whole thing. It's always sort of like I'm on screen, But I also think that there is sort of like a fun part of it too, in school or whatever, when you used to do like projects with your friends or like home videos or whatever, and you finally get to see the finished product. Like it's kind of like that when you really enjoy working with the people on set, getting to see like the final product and how it all turned out can be like very fun and validating. So I do enjoy that part of the process as well, getting to see what we created.
And I guess spoiler alert, right? Malcolm in the Middle is back, but spoiler alert, life's still unfair, right? Let's be. But people can see the 4-part series on Hulu and Disney Plus. That is Malcolm in the Middle, Life's Still Unfair, and The Way Home episodes rolling out for season 4 on Hallmark Channel, Hallmark Plus. Vaughan, thank you so much for your time.
It was wonderful chatting with you.
Your Instagram account is just your name. People want to keep up to date with everything, right?
Vaughan Murrae.
Awesome. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Vaughan Murrae and Peter Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.